It was a decisive victory for the United States and a major defeat for Japan. The Asian country lost dozens of ships, hundreds of planes, and hundreds of thousands of Japanese troops were killed or injured. America lost 7 warships, along with more than 23,000 soldiers and sailors, according to the Defense Department. Not only is the Battle of Leyte Gulf among the largest naval battles in history, the maritime clash in 1944 marked the last time battleships fought against each other. Some of these wrecks are still being discovered today near the Philippines and miles beneath the waves of the Pacific.
This is the world's deepest known shipwreck, located more than 4 miles or some 6,500 meters below the surface of the Pacific. The numbers 557 identify it as the USS Johnston, filmed for the first time underwater by a remote-controlled submersible. This destroyer was one of several U.S. Navy ships sunk battling a vastly superior Japanese fleet during a furious battle off the coast of the Philippines during World War II.
These little ships, fighting a desperate battle for time, used everything in the book to stay afloat.
How did you feel seeing the ID numbers of the USS Johnston?
In a way, it's painful, but in another way, it's inspirational.
Former U.S. Navy Captain Carl Schuster says he and his fellow officers studied the story of the Johnston and its commander, Ernest Evans, the first Native American naval officer to be posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor.
He moved without orders. He saw an imminent danger to the fleet, and he moved on it on his own authority.
Evans bought time for vulnerable American transport ships by attacking a fleet of 23 Japanese warships.
His actions started a charge, if you will, that ultimately saved several thousand American lives, at the cost of his own and much of his crew.
186 crew members, including Commander Evans, died aboard the Johnston. The Johnston was mapped by Caladan Oceanic. Over the past decade, several other World War II wrecks have been discovered in the Pacific by expeditions led by the late Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen. Navies around the world treat these sites as sacred war graves.
I see them as the tombs or cemeteries of brave men who died fighting for their country, whether they're German, Japanese, or American.
The mapping of the USS Johnston brings some closure for surviving relatives of the ship's crew.
A grateful people will remember their names. The Gambier Bay, the USS Hull, the Johnston, the Samuel B. Roberts.
But the final resting places of the 3 other ships sunk during the same deadly battle have yet to be found. Ivan Watson, CNN, Hong Kong.